So we are back for Social Work Month, and I'm just excited. I've been kicking it with our next guest coming up today, and like we're already at a whole nother vibration. But let me tell you why we're here. It is Social Work Month. Social work is such an amazing profession. It's a profession that values the voice of individuals, families, and communities. As social workers, it's our responsibility to advocate for the marginalized, oppressed, the silenced. And in doing so, we recognize the importance of centering the voices of those we serve and engaging in meaningful dialogue that affects change. And I think that's what this whole series has been about, looking at the change makers. So welcome to Breaking Barriers, our series of interviews. Yes, looking at social workers for Social Work Month. I'm Amanda Fludd, a licensed clinical social worker, speaker, coach, adjunct, professor, entrepreneur, and creator of this audacious project. Interviewing a social worker a day for the month. I tell you, it's been something, but many words come to mind, but I'll tell you, interesting.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Today, I'm joined by social worker and e-journalist and social work advocate, Silas Kelly. So welcome, Silas. How are you?
Thank you. So glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. So jumping right into it, what does break barriers mean to you?
Wow. Well, breaking barriers means to me that this profession, we have to lead the way. We have to lead the charge whenever there's injustice, whenever there's inequities, whenever there's challenges. Those are the barriers that social workers naturally are able to break through. So when I hear the word social work breaks barriers, it means removing any obstacle that's in front of an individual who has a mind to do better and to be better and to get to a higher station in life. So that in and of itself is what we do and who we are. And I can certainly say that that's a great theme for this particular month, is that we help people get to the places they want to go by removing the barriers. And if we can't go under them, over them, or around them, we break right through and we go right through them. That's what we do. And that's who we are.
Yes. I was talking to someone else a little earlier, and she said, you need a social worker in your life. So hearing that, you're like, wait a minute, I've been messing with the wrong professor. I need a new advocate.
There you go. There you go.
I love it. Now, think about your own experience, whether culturally, economically, we all have a story. So, I'm curious a little bit, how have you had to break barriers in your own life?
Wow, that's a deep question. Thank you for asking. It gives me an opportunity to tell my listeners and viewers and your listeners and viewers why I'm so passionate about this profession. And that is simply because I'm a product of this profession. So the barrier that I had to break first and foremost was getting over my own lack of self-confidence, my own low self-esteem, and my own scars and wounds that needed to be healed. And had it not been for the profession of social work breaking down the barrier of me being in a traumatically abusive first foster home, then I wouldn't be here today. So what it means to me, breaking barriers, is that I was rescued one day from a very brutal situation at the young age of 3. And that became my biggest gift that was ever given to me, that a profession called social work saw something in the place that I was in the home that I was placed, and they knew something wasn't right. And that's what social workers do. So I was rescued from an abusive home. And this was after, and I guess I should kind of go back to the beginning. I'm the youngest of 8. My mother and father could not take care of us. There's no condemnation. There's no criticism. It's just the reality of the situation. Right. It was life circumstances and situations, and they couldn't do it. So the authorities came in and took all of us away. And we all got placed in the care of New York City Bureau of Child Welfare. My older siblings were put in an orphanage, in an institution. Myself being the youngest and my next oldest sibling, we were too young to be institutionalized, so we went in 2 separate foster homes. And then by the grace of God, the profession of social work was able to identify a family, and we relocated to Amityville, Long Island, but we got reunited. And that all is because of the profession of social work. And not only did they do that, Amanda, they kept us in touch with our biological family all through the life cycle of growing up. Right. To this day, I know all my siblings. To this day, you know, my biological parents, they passed away, God rest their soul, but I knew them. I knew of them. I knew all my older siblings. And that was because the profession of social work, the main thing that we do is, and people don't get this, we want to keep families together. We want to keep families together. That's what I'm
thinking as you're talking, right?
And reunite and not let that chain be broken. Because once that chain is broken, then we're a bunch of lost souls out there not knowing who we are in our roots. So I was able to overcome all of that and be placed in my second foster home at the age of 3, which was a godsend. And it was one of the greatest things that ever happened to me. And on that day that I left Brooklyn and relocated to Amityville, Long Island, I got reunited with the youngest of my older siblings, and he and I grew up together in our home in Amityville.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I mean, it speaks to just the level of compassion that comes with our profession, and they cared enough to make sure as much of those values, the connection, the family, that was there and maintained. And I love that this story came out because we don't always get to see that in this narrative of who social workers are, that we like disrupt families, we come to break up homes.
Thank you.
Everybody's calling ACS on each other, they're gonna take your kids in. But like that's not really the intention, right? It's like safety and well-being, and protecting the family.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And even beyond that, like we're protectors beyond that in the community on this macro level, you know, of how we create policies and we show up everywhere.
Yes.
You know, one of the ways that I like that you show up is in the space of like voice and using media as a podcaster. And I'm curious, like, how can we be better as social workers when it comes to using our voice, especially when it comes to change?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I've learned from a lot of my mentors through the years, you know, as I started studying social work, and maybe even before that, when I was studying broadcast journalism. But one of the most important things that I learned was from one of my very first professors when I went back to school to start studying for my master's back in 2010. Professor Mike Stoltz, he said to all of us one day in class, he says, in this profession, he says, you have to find your voice and you have to use it for the betterment of society and for change. And everybody has a voice. We just have to find it. It just so happened, Amanda, that before I started studying social work, I majored in broadcast journalism, and I've always wanted to talk about social issues and change. And broadcast journalism gave me that vehicle and the tools and the skills. So as social workers, we all may not have degrees in media or broadcast journalism, but with the advent of social media and technology now is so that anybody can do a 2 or 3 minute piece about something that's really important. And we need to speak to the issues and get it out to the broader public. 20 years ago, it wasn't as easy to do that. Today, we can use technology and social media, and we should, and speak on the issues. And also, what I know for a fact to be important is we got to teach the young people how to use this technology and the media to state their issues and what their causes and concerns are, because they are the future. And the more we empower them to speak, if we use our voice to advocate for them, we need to also teach them to use their voice to advocate for themselves. Because they're the ones that's going to tell us what needs to happen, because they're the ones that are going to bear the brunt of all the mistakes that we as adults make in our infinite wisdom.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like media just gives us like a bigger soapbox, right? It
There
carries
you
the
go.
voice
Mm-hmm.
further. So yeah, and I like that we have this social responsibility, not just going forward and looking ahead, but like looking back to who's coming behind us and
Yes.
preparing them
Mm-hmm.
what's ahead.
That's a Sankofa moment.
Mm-hmm. Powerful. So finish this sentence for us. I wish people understood social workers, ...
I wish people understood that social workers are skilled, educated, and trained to work with any population in any industry, with any socioeconomic group. We have the skills and the knowledge and the talent. And I wish people knew that anywhere in society that there's an issue, that there's a problem that needs to be solved in any arena, any area, any industry, a social worker can step to that challenge with grace, dignity, knowledge, and strength and come up with a solution and empower others to also seek that solution. I wish everybody knew that, because if they knew that, then we would certainly be seen and looked at and elevated more than we are, which is why we got to revert back to using this platform to continually tell our story.
Absolutely. Oh, just wonderful. I'm walking away like social workers are superheroes.
There you go. Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Amazing. Silas, thank you. We appreciate you and celebrate you for all that you're doing for the advancement of the profession. And it's amazing how it's like this trickle down effect of someone a social worker who had this impact in your life. And here you are, a social worker, and here you are giving back to other social workers and pouring in. It's like this amazing cycle. Beautiful to share space with you in that way.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this opportunity, and it's a wonderful series. And keep doing what you're doing, because it's needed.
Yeah, appreciate you. To everyone listening, happy Social Work Month.
All right.
Pleasure.